Hi, I'm Sean Carruthers and welcome to How Do I on Butterscotch.com. In this series we're taking a look at how to use digital SLR lenses, and in this episode specifically it's a bit of a bonus episode and we're taking a look at one of the new kids on the block, Lensbaby. Lensbaby is for people who want to achieve more artistic effects. Now they've got a number of models out. We're taking a look at the Composer specifically. This is one of the newer models on the block. And the goal of the Composer is to adjust the sweet spot of your image. Now you may have noticed images out there called tilt shift images, which change the focal plane and blur out other things in the image. The Lensbaby allows you to do that by loosening up a socket and a ball that attaches this in place and tilting it into different positions, so which will change the angle of the shot and what is in focus. So you can achieve various artistic effects by just moving that around. And then when you achieve the effect that you like, you can lock it into place. This is the focus ring on it. Now the nice thing about the Composer system for Lensbaby is that it is actually modular. So we have the ability, using the cap that comes with each of these little lens holders, to remove the lens that's in here. So what we do is we line up this image right here, turn it sideways, and then we can actually pull out the optics here, and this was the fisheye lens that we had here, and we can put in a different one. Now it comes with the double glass insert right here, which is a pretty basic one that allows you to compose, thus the Composer moniker on here, without too much effect. The fisheye will give you a much more curvilinear effect, as we talked about earlier. It looks like looking through a peephole. You can get a lot more artistic effect out of that, get more of the image in. Another one that we have here that I like quite a lot is the Pinhole. So to put this in, you would just insert this in to the top like this, align it with these two dots here on the side, align with one to insert, and then turn it to align it with the other one, and now it's locked into place. And the Pinhole insert here is an interesting effect here. Now with old school cameras, you didn't actually need a lens even to do a photograph. So a Pinhole camera allowed you to just put a hole in the front. So you could actually replace the lens altogether with just a piece of plastic with a tiny pinprick hole in the very center where it would go through the very center of the lens. And by opening up the shutter for a long period of time, you could actually take a pretty reasonable shot. It wouldn't look as good as one taken with proper glass. It would have a sort of ghostly, otherworldly look to it, but from an artistic perspective, it did achieve a rather interesting effect. Now this optical system here actually has a Pinhole zone plate optic, which I've got in here right now, and you can see in the center it actually has a sliding plane in the center, and you just slide it from one to the other, like so, to move between something called zone plate, which is an f/19 aperture, which is reasonably wide open compared to the Pinhole, which is f/177. Now that's a tiny, tiny pinprick, and to get anything out of this whatsoever, you'd need to have it set into manual and then open it up for, say, 30 seconds to achieve your shot. Now one downside with a lot of the Lensbaby lenses is that they actually have a fixed aperture, and in most cases it's really wide open. So you do have to adjust the shutter speed yourself. Putting into full manual is a good idea. There is actually, with some of them, you have the ability to adjust the aperture using these inserts, which come with a number of different f-stop settings, from wide open to very, very narrow, so that you can actually adjust the aperture simply by popping one of these things in. Now it's a bit of a pain, especially when you're out in the field, to do this, so just be forewarned that doing this isn't actually the most easy thing in the entire world. It does require a lot of manual intervention and playing around with the settings on your camera to get exactly the shot you want. Now that's a look at the Lensbaby Composer system. Don't forget to check out the other parts in this series where we take a look at the usual suspects when it comes to SLR lenses and explain what they do.